A few months back, a friend of mine took her life. She was also a PhD scholar, a researcher just like I am, and we never met. We talked over calls, over Instagram, and she really loved her work. She was a university topper. She enjoyed her work, but at the same time, she was struggling a bit. And a few months back, she was working on her thesis for 6 years, and at the end of 6 years, few months back, her guide told her that the work that she has done is worthless. Like 6 years of work, it means nothing. She cannot get her degree. And I think that was too much for her to handle, and she decided to just take her life. She decided to give up. And I came to know about it because the news came up in Google. That's how I knew about it. And I did not know how to react honestly, because we were not talking at that point of time. The last time we talked, she told me that she is planning to submit her thesis, get married, get a new life. And at that point, I was also very busy, and I thought she is busy too, wrapping up her PhD work. And this is something that I will regret for the rest of my life. I will always regret not talking to her, not telling her that it's okay, even if you don't get your PhD degree, your life should not end. It means a lot more than that degree. But I could not do that. So instead, I thought I will make a video now. I hope she will notice it, her soul will notice it, and she will be happy. So yeah, this video is not about how you can crack the PhD exam and how you can secure good ranks. I think a lot of people already talk about that. There are a lot of videos about that already. And cracking the PhD entrance exams and getting into an institute to get your PhD degree, that's not the tough part. The tougher part is surviving for 5 to 6 years and just going through the process. And for most of the people, like students who just get into the PhD program, they don't know what they're going to expect, what's going to happen for the next 5 years. So anything that happens, anything that's not expected, that shocks them, that disappoints them. And I just thought I will share my own experience and things that I've seen, things that I've heard. And that's what I'm going to tell you. Like, I'm not anyone to demotivate anyone or encourage anyone. This is things that I have seen, I have experienced, and what I think about a PhD degree. And yes, I mean, this is my perspective, my experience. Someone like can have very different ideas about a PhD degree, and that is fine. Okay, I am sharing what I think. This is my opinion. And yeah, I hope it will give you an idea. So first things first, let's talk about the things that can bother you once you enter a PhD program. The first thing is financial insecurity and the problems that occur. Now, a lot of students actually opt for PhD degrees because they think that it will give them some financial stability for the next 4 or 5 years. Because the students who study, like in general line, that is what we call it in India, like all the basic art subject and science subjects, getting a conventional job after your bachelor's and master's, it's tough. So often the students think that if I can enroll myself in a PhD program for the next 5 years, I will get stipend, I will get scholarship, and financially my life will be sorted. But that is not the thing. Like, just imagine you are 25 or 26 years old by the time you complete 2 or 3 years, and you are getting some stipend. Yes, the amount is not very high. Like your friends who are doing a job, maybe they're earning a little more than that, but it's fine because you don't have to pay tax. It's a scholarship. But the problem is that you don't get the money regularly. Like the kind of scholarship that we get, often the money it's stuck for 4 or 5 months, and after that you get the total money. Like you get the scholarship for 5 or 6 months together, and then again there is no stipend for the next 4 or 5 months. So it is a little difficult, to plan your like your finances, if you are planning to invest regularly in something, if you are planning your savings, if you are planning certain trips or anything in your life, you cannot plan it. It's very uncertain. And if you're someone who needs to support his or her family, which is quite possible, because when you are 25 or 26, your family expects some kind of financial support from you, right? It can get really tough. The second thing that can bother you is the insecurity, like the instability that can happen after your PhD degree. Like, again, a lot of people think that once you get your PhD degree, it's like a really high degree. After your masters, you're getting your PhD, so your life will be sorted. You will get a job or you will get a postdoc somewhere. But that's not how it works out, because things are not that smooth, and often it's a huge problem. Again, by the time your PhD is over, you are already 28, 29, and most of the people of that age, they're already working, maybe they're getting promoted, maybe they're changing jobs and they are going for better opportunities, and you're still wondering what you have to do, because there is no job, there is no placement, there is no campusing after your PhD. If you can get a good postdoc lab, that's fine, or you have to search for jobs, and at times PhD is not even considered as work experience. So for like jobs that are asking you for work experience, you don't have any work experience to show, and that is a really big problem. Apart from this lack of clarity, another thing that can really bother you is the ups and downs in your PhD journey. Like, it is not a smooth sail, and when I'm saying this, I'm not telling you anything like, you have to study hard to get good marks, and if you don't study hard, you won't get good scores. It's not like that. Maybe you will work on an experiment for 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, one day you realize that it's not working out, and you don't know how it went wrong, where it went wrong. So you will have to trace it back and find out what went wrong, and in the meantime you have just lost 3 months of your PhD tenure. And these things happen. It's very common, and you just cannot justify these things, because you have worked hard, your intentions were good, but it happened. It was not your fault, it was not in your control, but you cannot do anything either. You have to do those experiments again, you have to do the same thing again, you have to work extra hard for the next 3 months to make sure that you don't lose some time. So yeah, it's the ups and downs are too much to deal with at times, and it's just too confusing. Another thing that you really need to keep in mind is you need to have a lot of patience. As I said before, usually the PhD programs are 5 years. So even if you are entering a PhD program right after you complete your masters at when you are 23 years old, by the time your PhD gets over, it's already 28. Now, for most people, it takes a little longer than 5 years. For some, it's 6 years, 7 years, or even 8 years. So yeah, by the time you complete your PhD, you are already maybe 30. And honestly, when you are doing the same thing for 7 years, 8 years, at times you feel tired, and it is not a job. You just cannot change your position, you cannot just go for better job opportunities. Once you start the PhD journey, once you start working on one thing, you have to keep doing that. So yeah, patience is something that you need to have if you plan to get your PhD, and yeah, it's really important. Another thing that can bother you is the work environment. Now, I know that work environment at offices and any workplace can also become toxic, but this is also applicable for PhD students. Often the work environment is not very encouraging, and the story that I shared about my friend, I think you got a hint about that from her story, right? Yes, these things happen. People are often cornered by their guides, by their lab mates, and I really don't understand why these things happen. I really don't understand why it is so difficult to support someone, to guide someone, to tell him or her or tell them that, you know, it's okay if you are facing failure, this is how you need to do things. But often people don't do that. They are discouraged and they are said really hurtful things, and I think they just lose the confidence to work. So yeah, you have to be prepared for really difficult work environment too. And lastly, you have to be very strong headed, because you will be all alone in this journey. Don't get me wrong, you will always have your friends and family members and parents, but no one will understand what you are going through, because you know, getting a PhD degree and doing your research work, it's a very lonely journey, and only you know what you are doing, what kind of difficulties you are facing. And even if you talk about that, I don't think anyone will understand that. Like I know, I talk to a lot of my friends, and people who are not doing research work, they don't understand this. So yeah, you have to be prepared to just survive all by yourself. So yeah, that's all the things that I wanted to share today. I don't want to discourage anyone, obviously. Like, I decided to get a PhD degree, and a lot of people ask me that should I get a PhD degree? Is it worth it? Yes, it is, but you have to keep all these things in mind, and you have to be prepared for that. Every time someone decides to get a PhD degree, I think everyone tells them, wow, that's great, it's an amazing thing to do. You are such a bright student and you will have an amazing career in academics, and all those things are true. But at the same time, these difficult parts are also true. And if you are mentally prepared for all these things, the journey becomes easier and you can focus more on your work. And only get a PhD if you are sure about it, you know, if you are 100% sure about it. Being good in academics and being genuinely interested to be in the academic line are completely different things. So if you are interested in being in the academic field for the rest of your life, only then think about your PhD. I know career counseling or career guidance is not yet common in India, but if you can talk to someone like a counselor and talk about these things. Maybe he or she can guide you. Also, try to communicate with people who are doing similar kind of work. If you get into your PhD, try to make friends with other researchers, other PhD scholars, and you know, share your thoughts and anxieties and everything with them. And yeah, always have a plan B. I think working on a side hustle sort of saved my life. It became my outlet, it became my creative outlet, and it did help me a lot. And I talked to a lot of my friends, all of them try to have a creative side hustle, you know, just to survive. If you are earning money out of it, fine, it will also give you that extra money that you may need in those months when you are not getting your stipend. But even if you are not earning, having a creative outlet will be absolutely important. And yeah, also be prepared to just seek for help whenever you need. If you are going through a difficult time and if you think that you won't be able to manage it all by yourself, don't hesitate. You can talk to a counselor. Don't be ashamed of that. And lastly, always remember, not getting a PhD degree will not end your life. Your life means a lot more than that degree. Whatever you go through, like this 5 or 6 years journey will teach you a lot of life lessons, and I think that's important too. So if someone tells you after 5 years or 6 years that you know, whatever you have done, it's not worth it and you cannot get your degree, fight for it. Try to reason with that person. But if you think it's getting out of your hand, it's fine. Something will work out. Just don't think of, you know, just finishing your life. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to share today. I don't know if this video made any sense to you guys. I just knew I had to make this video, and so I made this video. I will come back with new videos very soon. Till then, take care and bye bye.